process. I'm going to get started now. Rick's going to show the page that you'll be on physically when you click onto the State of California portal. So what you're seeing right now in front of you, which we've had on the screen since you came in, is the welcome from the State of California to their position letter portal, which the legislature created a couple years ago. And the problem with the site, which I've warned you about, is it's not user-friendly, and they obviously didn't use anybody from the tech world to create a user-friendly site. They probably did it internally, so it's kind of a mess. And what's going to happen is we'll go through all the steps, and Rick is going to be the he's going to be the guinea pig, and he's going to actually do the steps, and you'll see what happens. And there's almost a guarantee we're going to run into some sort of strange problem, because that's how the site is. So here we go.
Okay.
Is that really exciting?
Let me just say one thing. When you click on the link to the portal, and it's available, if you just if you don't know where it is and don't see it somewhere, just Google California Legislative Position Letter Portal or Position Letter Portal, and you'll come right up to a link that you can click on. And the first thing you see when you click on that is this page that is showing right now. Now, one thing is, if you've signed into it before and are a user, at least on my computer, as you can see, it automatically fills in my email and password. Okay.
Okay. So Rick, you're getting ahead of things. Let me go through the steps.
Okay.
Okay. Before you go to the page, write a short letter against the bill or bills that you're going to go after. Have that ready on your laptop, because when you get to the part where they want you to upload a letter, you can't have nothing, and you don't want that page to freeze on you. So do that first. So you get your letters ready. And one good way to help you figure out what to say in your letters is, we have a lot of wording on the website about the 9 bad bills. We have a news story under our news page. We've got real short descriptions on our Act Now page, and we also emailed you short descriptions. Plus, a lot probably about some of the bills. So those are good places to get started with some language, but make it your own and make it about your community. And also, I would strongly suggest that you talk in your letters about the effects on other people. We believe that one of the worst effects will be that these bills are going to really decimate working class neighborhoods. They're very focused on going in and wiping out existing neighborhoods. Okay, so let's get started. You write a short letter and you have it ready on your desktop to upload to the portal. Now you go, as Rick was saying, to that sign-in box. There's 2 things that are going to happen there. If you have been there before, when you type in your email, you probably will have a password pop up. Is that right, Rick?
That's what happens on my computer.
Okay.
When I open it up, it automatically comes up with my email and password.
Right. Okay. And then for most of you who haven't been there, you're going to have to click on Create an Account down below where Rick is. Create an account right there. And that's at the bottom of the sign-in box. And a new page will open. You type in your email on that new page. Now, Rick, can you click Create an Account?
Let's try that.
Even though you have an account? Okay, so here's a series of questions that you get. No, you're not a registered lobbyist. No or yes, do you represent? Which way to go on that? If you're doing just singly for starters, then you click no. If you're just sending in for yourself, just click no. Go ahead, Rick. Proceed.
Let me just say one thing about that decision, and that is ultimately you should both be able to do it as yourself and as your organization. And so ultimately you want both. You want to be representing an organization if you have one, and you want to be able to do it individually.
Right.
So we'll
So
just say
starting
for
with
now, not.
individual. Exactly. So we're starting with individual. Go ahead, Rick. And then here's where you tell them who you are.
Okay. Let's talk for a minute, Jill, because it's going to take me
Okay.
a second.
So you're going to hang on a sec here. You're going to fill out this information on this page called Use Your Details. You're going to actually give them your email address in the bottom part and confirm your email address in the bottom part. And then you're going to do those kind of classic answers, security questions like, what was your childhood nickname? I think one of them is, what's your favorite pet? There's a couple of different things you can choose from under the security question at the bottom. Right now, Rick's trying to sign in under a different name so he doesn't get too many accounts going with his name on them, because that'll really mess things up. So I see that it's filled in your email address automatically, Rick. Is that what you want?
No.
Or do you have a third? He's trying, like I said, to create a different one that doesn't mess with his current. So he's showing you how you would do it. Type in your own. Okay, and then what you're going to do is after you type in your address in two places, confirming it, and then you pick from that drop down of security questions. There's 4 or 5 of them, and Rick will show us that in a minute. You answer that, and then we get to see Rick's security answer for something weird in just a second here. Hang on, I have to cough. So Rick is typing in his second email, is confirming. Most people just copy it from above because it's so hard to type in the exact same thing you've already done. So I prefer copy and paste, but in any case, now Rick, show us the choices under, wait a minute, show people the choices under security question.
Jill, before he gets to that, I'm going to ask you, do you need 2 separate email addresses if you're doing one as individual and one representing an organization?
No.
Okay.
So Rick, just float over security questions so they can see the choices, please.
I don't think it's going to, oh, okay. Here you go.
Yeah, the little arrow.
Drop down.
Yeah, so those are the ones, your childhood hero, favorite childhood friend, primary school you attended. So it's the kind of stuff you've run into before. Thank you. And then click register. Now this is where the magic happens. Just wait a minute. It tells you it's gonna take about 4 to 6 seconds. It's gonna redirect. It takes you back to the home page because now you've created an account and now you can sign in.
Okay. But you have to look at your email, I think, right, Jill, for the sign-in.
Well, okay, so here's how it works. The portal, you type in your email and you click. The portal system will respond by sending you an assigned password to the email you've given. So Rick has already got, unfortunately, a password, so he can't replicate that. But
no, I can. I just this is a whole brand new Gmail, so so I would go here and put in the.
Okay, so what Rick is doing is
email,
he's gonna go to his email system and he's gonna look in his junk mail. That's usually where it ends up, and he will find in his junk email, or maybe in regular email, you'll find that the state has sent you a very long, complicated password. So what you're going to do after you give them your email and you click, you have to do 2 things at the same time. You have to end up back at this sign-in page, but on another open page, you check your own email and look for this letter from the state. And I found mine in junk yesterday, and Rick found his in junk. So it might pop up in your normal email and it might not. It's going to be a very long, complicated password like the one you're seeing right there that Rick got sent to him just now.
I can show you on, this is how it came into that Gmail account. It came in from the position letter support team, and it says hello, and it says, it gives you a click here, or but it says you can also, this is the username, the username being the email that you used, and this is the password that I copied in.
Right, so that's the state assigned password. You copy it and you go back to the sign-in box right here, and you plug it in.
Bill, what it says is that Gmail considers the state junk.
I know, isn't it classic? I love it. Okay, now, so now sign in with your email and your state assigned password. Go ahead, Rick, and click sign in. So now they want you to tell them what your password is going to be, because you just got a temporary password from the state in order to get you inside the system. So now you pick your own, and read it carefully. It's really, it's really easy to get it wrong. No more than 20 characters, at least 8. Has to have 1 digit, 1 uppercase character, and 1 lowercase character. That sounds really simple, but I screwed that up yesterday like 4 times. So,
and I'll probably screw it up right now.
At least 8 digits, 1 uppercase character and 1 lowercase character. So it's got to have a number in it. That's what they mean by 1 digit. And it's got to have a capital letter, and it's got to have a lowercase letter, and it's got to be at least 8. So it's a pain. I don't know why it can be very tricky to leave something out. So you create your new password, copy from above so that you don't accidentally mistype it.
I don't think it'll let me copy that.
Yeah, it should. It'll let you. Oh, yeah, it should. Copy.
No, it doesn't let you.
Oh, bummer. Well, I hope you wrote it down. Well, Rick gets a huge prize, you guys, if he gets the exact same one twice in a row. Okay, now you click change password. Whoa, Rick, awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, now you're inside the system with your own private password. Okay, what's next? This is the activity page. Can everybody see that where does it say activity page?
I don't see where it says that. And interestingly enough, Jill, it gave us this box that we did not see last night.
The text box.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is, I don't see sometimes it pops up and says activity page, but this is where you're going to submit your letter. So, Rick, my screen is off kilter and I can't see the far left. Does it say up on the upper left-hand page side, submit a letter?
No, it's at the upper left says new submission, and then it gives you the place to select your bill and search for it.
Okay, so this is, sometimes you get one called, very similar to this, called submit a letter. This is also allowing you to submit a letter, and we'll show you where, down on the right-hand side. Meanwhile, you're going to choose your bill, Assembly bill or Senate bill, up in the upper left side. Rick, go ahead and pick one of the bad bills.
Well, I'm sorry, I've got to pick a good bill because I've got the only letter I've got prepared for this demo is a good bill.
Okay, so you're going to do SB 1299 then.
Correct.
That's the bill we like by Portantino that reuses idled big box stores and turns them into housing and gives the city money in order to make up for their lost retail sales. As far as we can tell, it's one of only 2 or 3 bills in the legislature this year that doesn't punish, blame, and attack the cities for being bad. Okay.
You see, I typed in the bill number here,
regular session, that's where you click over regular session, that's good. This one he's supporting and not opposing. Select a committee down below, Rick. No, over on the left.
Okay. Yeah, you don't do that. You don't do that at this point. You just hit search.
What are you looking for when you hit search?
It'll go to the bill. May I hit it now, Jill?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So when you hit search, it brings up right on the same page. It shows you the bill, the name of the bill, and the author of the bill. And then it says select committee.
There should be, a light like that, but these.
Okay. And so it's in the assembly. So it goes to the Housing and Community Development Committee.
Okay, great. Now, we over on the right, select your
The
stance.
bills
Rick
already, Bill,
What?
haven't the bills already passed their initial houses?
Yes, all of
Yeah.
the bills passed their initial house and now they're all in the opposing house. They're heading into committee and being assigned to committees, and we're gonna hear about some committee dates very soon. So we called this session a greased session in which nothing was stopped. And there was only one hearing instead of 3 hearings for the bills. So there was very little debate, extremely non-transparent. And they're saying it's because of COVID, but frankly, a crisis is a great time to get to do a lot of mischief, and that's exactly what's going on. Okay, so you enter your stance, which in this case is to support, we're supporting Portantino at Livable California.
Now,
And then,
Jill,
yes,
let me just say,
uh-oh, lost
what's
your
happened
page.
to Zoom?
Hang
Hang
on,
on,
folks.
we have a technical problem of some sort.
I like all the stuff on your desktop, Rick.
Yeah, something's gone crazy.
Making you sign back in?
Yeah,
He's obviously, you're in the meeting, otherwise we wouldn't be seeing this.
I know.
That's weird.
I just don't even know how to make that go away.
See if you have another window.
Screen, Rick.
You're looking at the wrong window in Zoom.
Yeah, click on the, do you have a Zoom camera over on the left on your icons? Or wherever you keep your
I don't
icons?
have, hang on, I'm,
The system tray should have,
oh, wait, let me try to minimize this. Okay. Minimize that.
Look at the Zoom on the right-hand side of your dock.
Okay, I'm still screen sharing, so I think we're good there. Can you
No,
still,
on the right-hand
You
side
don't
of your
want to do
dock.
that.
Look
can
where-
you see this? Can you see the screen?
Yes, I can see the screen. Go to the right-hand side of your dock.
Sorry, the position letter screen.
No, we can't see the
Okay, all right.
letter screen.
All right.
We can see your desktop, your own laptop desktop. That's,
Now we can see who's speaking.
Here we
Now
go.
see it.
yay, okay.
Okay.
Okay, now we're gonna do submit a letter, aren't we, Rick?
Hang on, I'm going to ask about that, but I'm going to also say, Jill, the
Thank you,
reason we
Carla.
didn't see this last night,
This. Oh, they're showing us something.
the reason we didn't see this last night is we were doing it as an organization. So when you come in and you just create an individual, which is what we did, you get the option here of either typing in your information, typing in your letter information in this type in box here, or if you've already got a letter prepared, you can click on this and submit a letter instead.
Right, so 2 choices. You can either type into the text box there or click and submit the letter. So Rick, can you go ahead and click?
Yep. Do you wish to represent an organization?
For now, no, because we're showing you the individual way to do it first. Go ahead and hit no.
No.
Okay, next you're going to choose the file.
Now this.
And then Rick's gonna find his letter on his desktop. That's why we're saying, before you do any of this, get your letter ready on your desktop.
And should that be in PDF?
No, it can be just a regular old doc.
Oh, it has to be a document. So you're not just cutting and pasting. You're not copying it. You're doing a link.
Could you ask the question again? I didn't quite
Rick,
hear
you're
you.
not on your desktop. You're in your documents folder.
Yeah, I know. Well, my documents folder is actually my desktop also.
No wonder it looks the way it does.
Wow. Yeah, and you were complaining at me because I had too many things open and couldn't froze my machine. Look at what you do. Letter example. It's the seventh one down.
There it is.
Yay.
Yay! Okay, now submit. Okay, letter submitted. That's how you do the individual. Now we're going to start all over with the group approach, which is a little trickier. And Rick he gets a huge reward if he can get through this.
Do you have a preference whether we do it as an individual or as part of this group?
Do both.
Both.
Do it as an
Wait,
individual and as a group, whatever group you belong to in your local area.
Oh,
We're going to explain how to do that as we go through these steps here. We'd like, if you can, we'd like you to do both.
Yeah. You
May I
will not
ask
be-
a question about signatures?
Yes.
Yes.
I understand that at least the one for a group, for a committee, requires a signature. Is that true also for being an individual? I mean, it requires your written signature.
I don't think so as part of an individual, because had you typed in your information in that box, you wouldn't have been asked to put in a signature. So
Right.
I think you
it's
can.
true for both. It's true for both. We at Livable California has put in many letters this year, and we don't sign them. We name the people, we name the board, but we don't do a physical.
No, Joe, we do sign them.
Who does?
Sorry.
Who does?
I sign them for the board.
Oh, so what do? You drag in a signature?
Yes.
Okay, so Rick's saying that if you do it as a group, you need to drag a signature into the bottom.
At some point, that might be worthwhile describing to people how you get a signature and get it into a letter.
Yeah, that's a drama in and of itself, but we'll try. Okay, Rick, do you want to go back to the beginning page? Start all over. No, to the very beginning. One way, while Rick's doing this, one way that you can create a signature and keep it on your desktop for other purposes as well. Online, there's many free signature creating widgets, I guess. If you just type in creating a signature, that kind of really vague phrasing, you'll probably get 3 or 4 ways in which you can create your own signature. It's like a little photograph of your signature that you can keep on your desktop. Sometimes you can't use it to pull into like PDFs and stuff, but I've found it really helpful. I have it in my photo documents file, and I pull it up a lot and use it.
Good, thanks.
Sure. I don't recommend any particular one, but it's, people are always looking for a way to do a signature online, so it's kind of easy to find one of them. Okay, here he goes. Wait a minute, slow down, Rick. What's Rick up to?
I gotta put in the password.
Where'd you get the
wait, Rick, these are people who are creating their own group, so you're way ahead of where they're going to be. So
Okay.
now you're doing it as a group, you're not doing it as an individual. And they don't have a password yet, Rick.
Okay, now I've made the assumption, Jill, here, and we can go use a whole different one, but I've made the assumption here that anybody that has not used the portal before and is going to submit for a group is also going to submit as an individual. So they would have already created their individual thing, and now they're adding the group thing to it.
So they're using their same password?
Yes, the same
Okay.
password that they just
Where'd you get the
created.
password?
The first process we took you through is how you got your password from the state. You went to your junk mail to find the long password that the state sent you. And so that's what you do first when you do it as an individual. You already have that all done. And then if you'll remember the process, Rick used that long, complicated looking password only once. And then he got to create his own password, putting his favorite childhood name in there, if you'll recall. So you already have that password because you've already done your individual letter. Now you're moving on to your group letter, and you already have your password from previously. So that's what Rick's doing right now. Now, I don't recommend typing out your password because you can make a million mistakes and get stuck, but Rick likes to do it that way, so he's typing it out.
Okay, so I'm ready to see if I did it right.
So now you're going to do it as a group. Here we go. Sign in. Okay, and now we pick the SB 1299 again.
I wonder. Oops.
So support, same as last time, looks it up to see which committee it's in. Sometimes it won't tell you, but just proceed. Sometimes it'll give you like 3 or 4 different committees. That's fine. If it does give you 3 or 4 committees, select them all so that you can continue to move forward. Then you hit submit a letter instead, unless you want to type into that text box, but you're gonna, now you say yes. Yes, you want to represent an organization. This is where you're going to represent a group. Okay. Subject. Real simple. I oppose the following bill. In this one, we're going to say we support SB 1299. So just real simple. It's just a title for your letter. Most of them are going to say we oppose. Choose your file. That's your letter already on your laptop. And let's, Rick, do you have anything to show them, like your state group one that you can just show them as an example? It's really good.
Hang on a second.
For an example.
Help me
And
find.
this letter is different, everybody, from your other letter, because you need to have the name of your group and the address of your group. Now here he's clicking select organization to see if he's already listed. The state has something like 20,000 group names under this.
Okay, what I'm going to do here is see if I type in the name of the organization, which is, I guess it's going to be LC Portal Training 1, because that's what I've been using in this demo. LC Portal.
So you're going to type in the name of your group, whatever it is, you know, Holland Square or whatever your group is called. Now, Rick, don't move yet. You'll get this drop-down menu often showing thousands of names. Sometimes the state will reject your name because 20 other groups are using a similar name, and they'll tell you it's taken. We have a couple of workaround suggestions for that when the drop-down comes in and tells you you can't use your own name. And that is, you mess around a little bit with your own name to get through the system. Like, for example, if they tell you, sorry, it's already taken, you can add the word the to the front, or add another word in your name, like 2020, the year 2020 in it. Change the name of your group that doesn't actually radically alter anything about it in order to get past the fact that a lot of groups are duplicated already in the system, and it's extremely frustrating when you're told that, sorry, you already exist. Okay, go ahead, Rick. Okay, he can't find his organization. That's good. You want it to say that unless you've done this before. You don't want it to say that it's been found. So now he tested it out and it's not in the system. So he's going to type in that long thing again.
Can more than one person submit for a group?
I don't know.
I believe so.
Give it a try and report back. Let us know.
Well, it does say there, you will represent this organization in future submissions. It says it right there next to select your
Oh, it
organization.
does, yeah. So somebody has to be a designated intermediary between the group and the portal.
So
Or you could probably just use the same name, whoever's name it is, just do it under that person's name again, or have that same information.
Yeah, and share your
I
password.
think you can also have multiple people in the organization. You know, for example, here I'm specifying my role as secretary, but I think, you know, if the president of the organization wanted to represent it also and submit letters, he could.
Well, that red warning suggests otherwise, but it's worth trying. Submit position letter.
Okay, says we did it.
You did it. Okay, so we think you should do both. We think you should write 2 letters. Rick, can you try to pull up your statewide group letter so they can see what a group letter looks like? Even if you don't, folks, even if you don't have a logo for your group, and even if your group is somewhat casual, but you've been meeting or you've agreed that you oppose, you are a group. You give yourself a name, and whatever that casual word is, phrase is, or it's a formal one, you can add a logo to your letter if you want to. But Rick's about to show you what a really simple letter looks like when a group is active and aware, but does not have a logo, and is not, you know, as polished maybe as some of the groups that have a lot of money and so on.
I'll do that in just a second.
Yeah.
First, I'm going to return to the profile and see now what we see. We return to the profile and that we just created, and we can see recent document submissions.
So he's got two from that support SB 1299. One is from the organization, and one it looks like is from Rick himself, I guess. And then off to the left, it has Rick's group name, LC Portal Training 1. That's the group that submitted this. His title is secretary. There's his mailing address. There's his email, his phone. So all of those little things will pop up. You're the only one who can see them. And that tells you that you're there and you're being accepted, and those documents have gone through.
And now, since these are both letters that we submitted while on this call. Now, let me go to submit a letter in case we wanted to submit another one on a different bill, because this is what you'll always see now when you come to your portal home. Okay.
Yeah, right.
So
it's beautiful. It's a great little button up there, because you can just submit. You can go through all of the 9 bad bills if you oppose them, and just keep going back and hit that submit letter and go through each one. So what that would mean is you have on your desktop 9 letters. They don't have to be long. In fact, we're told that 1.5 pages is considered incredibly long by the committees. So if you can keep it to a page or a page and a little bit of overflow, that's best. You don't have to have a whole book about what you think, but the key issues, the key negatives, the key impacts that you think the bill creates. We do about, at Livable California, our official ones that the board sends in are about 1 page plus maybe 2 paragraphs. We've had some 1-pagers. It's always hard to edit yourself. So here's what Rick created for a group that doesn't really exist, but just as an example, and just made it look official by putting statewide groups in blue and in a different typeface up at the top, and then the letter. So it looks nice. It says who you are, your address, your email, and then the date. And we, as we say in the instructions you got that you should print out and keep, which we sent and which you have on chat now, you start it off with honorable whoever it is you're sending it to, the committee chairman. In this case, we were sending it to David Chu.
How do we know who that is?
You'll send your letters to the committee that is hearing the bill next. In this case, we knew that the next hearing for SB 1299 was in the Assembly Housing and Community Development Committee. We went to their page and found that Chu is the chair. So we filled in his name here, the name of the committee here that we're sending the letter to. And then it's always like state capital, Sacramento. You don't have to put state capital, but Sacramento, and it's always the same zip code.
Right, but to get more specific to your question, when you are in the system, the committee is going to pop up. If you remember back about 4 or 5 pages, the committee pops up. So on a separate page, go and look up the committee. Just type it in online. It'll pop up, and you will see when you go to the committee's page, it will tell you who the chairman is. So that's really easy to find. You'll type in Senate Housing Committee, California Senate Housing Committee, or California Environmental Committee. Whatever a committee is popped up when you're going through the portal, you'll type it in on a different page online, and the chairman will pop up. When you finish up your letter on your laptop, you're going to use that information. There's probably about 4 committees in play on these bills. It's either going to be the Housing Committee of the Senate and the Assembly that you're going to be writing to. It could be a committee called Government and Finance that the bills go to. It could be the transportation committees. There are only a few committees that are going to be the #1 committee on these bills, and they're only going to see it. It's only going to be heard by 1 committee. So there's some competition as to which committee gets chosen. Normally, it would go to 2 or 3 committees to be much more transparent and far more debate. But this year, we think under the cloak of COVID, they're saying they can't do that, and it's only going to be debated by 1 committee. And that's why the bills are greased and moving through way too fast with very little debate. And that's why the public needs to step in. And there, by the way, there's no media coverage of what's going on. So we're in a very critical, kind of scary, frightening time in which the legislature has far more power to push things through fast than, I don't remember the last time. I covered the legislature during the Arnold era, and I've never seen anything like this. This is lightning speed, almost no debate, and approving bad bills. So you're gonna find the committee, and you're gonna send it to that committee. Most of it's gonna be housing, but not always. And Rick's got a list here. You can see that it says the first few say housing, 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 housing. And then you get to AB 3153, led by Chu, and it says governance and finance. So that one went to governance and finance. So a few of them will go to other committees. So be sure and look it up before you choose your committee.
The body of the letter, would you recommend that it be different each time to the different committees?
Yes.
Yeah, you can, and it doesn't have to be wildly different, but things that are on your mind, get them in there, add something new, add something from our website, add something from the people you work with or meet with, and make it somewhat different to that committee. Now,
But Jill, you said before, when you see that there are 3 or 4 committees on something, check the box for all of them. So doesn't that mean that the same letter automatically goes to all of them?
Yes, and let me talk about this.
Let's clarify. Yeah, let's clarify.
Let me clarify. For one thing, we're going to make it easy for you folks. You can see from this spreadsheet that we keep up. All of the bad bills are in here, plus a few more that we're following. But we keep track of what committee it's going to. And I'm going to put this information by tomorrow night. Any bill that we know a committee that it's already assigned to, and most of them are assigned now, I will put that on the Act Now page, but right below, you know, if we've got like SB 3040, you know, I will, right where we've written something about that on the Act Now page, right below that section, I will put, you know, it's in the Senate Housing Committee. And, you know, most of these have been assigned, but for a lot of them, the hearing dates have not yet been set. The hearings will all be after the legislature returns on July 13th, after July 13th, when they return from recess. But they could be heard in those committees anytime from July 13th through the end of August. So we will always keep up as we can. You know, we'll first have all these assignments on the Act Now page. And then when there is a hearing date, we will also append that into the same location on the Act Now page. So we'll do our best to, at least on the 9 bad bills, to keep up with that for you. But,
and let me just interject. It's only going to go to one committee. So when you do get that button that gives you the choices, there's no harm done to choose to send your letter to all of the committees. Maybe some of them will actually read it, even though they're not the committee that's going to hear it, and maybe it will influence a vote or make somebody think twice. They have cut it way, way down. The system isn't reflecting the fact that only one committee is going to hear these bills.
I'm just confused because you said a minute ago to differ the article, to vary the letter.
I know. That's just habit, because we're so used to having several committees. So you can just forget that advice. It's really hard to get used to the idea that there is no second chance this year.
And can I also ask, is it worthless space to waste in a letter to say you're rushing them through? It's ridiculous that there's only one committee. This is a terrible way to do it, and you're using COVID as an excuse. Is that a stupid waste of a paragraph in a one-page letter?
Well, here's my advice on that. Normally, I mean, they should be punished and they should be criticized, but when you're writing a letter to try to get them to pay attention to the actual problem with the bill, I would word it more carefully, but I think you can interject some of that. I would say something like, this bill was heard by only one committee and the following problems were not properly aired, and here they are. So I'm concerned because only one committee is hearing this, and the following 3 things have not been fully aired, and you really need to take a look at these, folks, kind of a thing. So more like helpful warning rather than slamming them, because we found that the fragile egos in the legislature can be very volatile and not exactly adult. So we go with the more helpful warning. Look, this didn't even come up, or we don't think this was aired. People don't know that this, that kind of thing.
Let me also stress one thing about the letters and the advantages of the portal and the advantages of getting it in as soon as you know what committee it's been assigned to. And that is before the hearing, and just before the hearing, the legislative analyst for that committee will write a summary brief for the committee's use. If the legislative analyst for the committee gets these letters that come through the portal, and he can actually look at them, and if you've put in, if a lot of people have concerns that, sensitive neighborhoods need to be protected, or something like anything that is your primary concern, that the bill does not take into account, if you put that clearly in the letter, he may choose, and he sees 3 or 4 of them, he may choose in his report to the committee before they vote, he may report that a lot of people are concerned that this bill will gentrify sensitive communities, or anything else that you want to bring up. But that's the advantage of getting it in through the portal. You could actually influence what the analyst says to the committee, and that's very useful. There's really no other way to do that easily.
Okay, I'm going over to the chat to just read some questions out loud. Nancy Friedman said, it won't accept my application because I signed on from BCC, and there are others who also should, and there are others who have also. So should I just change to a resident and forget council? I'm sorry, I don't understand your question, Nancy Friedman. Are you there? Maybe not there. Okay, I'm going to go down to the next question. Pete says, do we need a separate email address for groups versus individuals? I think Rick said no, you don't need a separate email. Is that correct, Rick?
That is correct.
That's correct. Okay, another question from Pete. Do you get a different password for your group and individual logins when you use that same email? Rick, what's the answer on that?
The answer is no. Once you've registered on the portal, it is your password to use whenever you go back to the portal, and you use it whether you're going to submit a letter as an individual or a letter as an organization.
Okay, and then to continue the chat discussion, Pete is recommending that you actually use 2 separate email addresses for the group versus the individual. And Tony Wilkinson also thinks that's a good idea, to keep your addresses separate so you have 2 separate entities that are sending in. So you, as far as we know, you can do that. You can have a completely separate email from the group and from the individual. Mary Eliza, sorry, she says, can't understand that. Gail Mullen wants to know, what are the options for session type? I don't understand that question. Does anybody know the answer? Okay, Diane.
It might be regular session, special session,
right. Okay, yeah, just click whatever's there. They're talking about what type of legislative session they're having, and you don't really need the options. Just whatever's there, click it. And if there's more than one session type, click it. It's not gonna mess up your letter. Diane Robertson says, I don't have a select committee option here. Did anybody else run into that where they were not given a committee selection option? Rick, what do we think that means? That means that there is no committee yet?
That could mean that there is no committee assigned yet for that specific bill that was put in.
Yeah, so in that case, Diane, it might be that you can fill in as much information as you want, as you can, and then check back to see if a committee to select has popped up yet. They're on recess, so we're prepping everybody, because when they get back, things are going to move fast. Some of the information might be missing because of the recess, Diane. Now, Gail Mullen says, how do you know which committee it goes to? So we explained that briefly, and Rick will put those committee names on our website as well. Diane Rivera wants to know, how do we know where the bills are? Same answer. We're about to find out which committees they're going to. They're on recess, and they've told us some basic information, but there's no dates yet. Yeah, and Mary Eliza is saying she finds that the system picks the right committee, and in fact it should. The portal should offer you the correct committee to click. Sometimes it gives you several. We don't know why, but usually it gives you the correct one. If you get several, click them all. If you get one, click that one. If you get nothing, it means that they haven't. We're pretty sure it means that they haven't assigned it yet. Let's see. Dan from Orinda says, don't forget to click on the oppose button at the top. That's right. Almost all the bills that we're tracking, we oppose. So we just showed you one of the rare ones that we support, which is $12.99. From Cindy Bloom to everyone, she's got to go. Let's see, Belinda and David Raquello, just wishing everybody 4th of July. Okay, thank you. Tony Wilkinson says he strongly suggests you save it as a PDF file before you upload it. I never use PDF because I can't stand them, but if you want to do PDF, fine. I do mine in doc. We're talking about the sample letters. And let's see. Tony Wilkinson says, don't submit anonymous letters. They're totally useless. That's right. They should not be anonymous. No one will read them. John Eldon says something about, I think they're asking about signature images versus typed signatures or typed names. That's right. You're going to try to put your actual signature at the bottom instead of a typed name. Let's see. If you use Tony Wilkinson is reminding everybody and telling everybody, if you decide to use a different email, he presumes you need to start all over, including a new password. Rick, do you agree? I think Tony is right.
Yes.
Correct. You will restart basically as a different person. Gary Tenzer says Acrobat lets you insert a pre-scanned signature. Thanks for that, Gary. Just about to the end of the ideas here.
And let me just make one comment about that, Jill, if I might.
Yes.
If you put a signature into a doc file, somebody could extract that signature and use it improperly. If you use an Acrobat file, a PDF file, that image is just an image. It cannot be extracted and used elsewhere. So it's much safer putting a signature in a PDF. Okay,
very good. Leslie Friedman says she came in late and she would appreciate hearing about creation of the password. She doesn't understand about the junk mail coming from the state. So Leslie, if you want to stay after 11, we will walk through, and you will want to have your printout that we sent you, your list of what to do in front of you, so we can walk you through that section. Diane Rivera, what if you're the only one in the group? Does it have to be more than one person forming a group? If you're the only person in the group, in other words, you have an area, a region, or an area-wide problem or issue about a bill, but it's just you, and there's people who agree with you, but they haven't joined yet. I don't know exactly how you would explain that. You would give your group name, you would give your information about what you're concerned about, but what you should be doing is nailing down who your group members are. I mean, just to dot the I and cross the T. That's my recommendation, that you should be actually getting people in the group.
Could I just say on that one, that doesn't have to be a hurdle to keep you from doing something. For example, if I was just sitting here and I knew that I'd talked to my roommate or 2 other people about these bills, which I'm doing all the time, I would be a group. I would name it. I would do just what we did, and I might call it the DeHaro Street neighbors, you know, or something like that. So whatever you can create, you are a group, you just have to kind of think about who you talk to.
Okay, and we have a couple questions on that, other issues. Gail Mullen would like to know, when you submit a group letter, do you need to list all of the members? You don't need to list all of the members, but I think it carries more weight if you list at least some of them. If some people don't want to be named, that's fine. I would say the more people who are mentioned in your group, the better. But you know, it's up to you. Let's see what else we have. Okay, Mark Verville says, can you discuss prioritization of using the portal versus calling and writing an individual legislator? Yes, they're completely different strategies. One is influencing the single committee that's going to actually look at the policy and talk about the policy. And it's going to be pretty fast. We participated in several of them by phone on the Senate side and on the Assembly side. And it's very difficult because you're not in the room. You can't see what's going on. It's very foreshortened. So the committees are important because they're really the only time that the policies get discussed seriously. Now, on the other hand, why should you call and write legislators, individual legislators? Because it's going to come to the floor. The floor is going to make the final decision on these bills in the Senate and the Assembly, and the floor has no idea what the bills say. In general, what we understand, and we've seen it, senators and legislators, unless they're really sharp, walk down the hall to their best friend and ask them how they're voting, and they don't read the bills. So you are basically explaining the bills to your senator and your legislator. And more than that, our automatic letters on the website, we've chosen about 15 to 18 key legislators who we think are on the, they can't decide. They aren't completely owned by the Scott Wiener side. They don't know what to do. So we're targeting those letters that you do through our website to those people. What you should be doing, in addition to the automatic letters, is calling and writing your legislator, literally, trying to get a Zoom meeting. They have a lot of time right now. They're on recess, which is their vacation. They're back mostly in their districts. They're available for Zoom, and you should try to get them on Zoom. That's a really big deal. They are not aware. They think that most of them think that the housing bills are going to help build affordable housing. Most of the bills, in fact, rolled back affordable housing this year. They're rolling it back. They're cutting back on the number of required units. It's an out of control year of market rate housing, and there's no media coverage of it. So your calling to your individual legislator, trying to set up a Zoom, is a really big deal.